Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week 2 of your health class. This week we'll look at the skeletal system. Just a reminder, with health, there should be plenty of time in class to do your work if you are a remote A or B student. So let's get started. When we think of the skeletal system, we usually just think of bones. But the skeletal system is so much more than that. It's a body system that consists of bones that provide support framework. It protects your inner organs, and with muscles, it helps provide movement. Joints are part of the skeletal system. It's where two bones meet. There's different kinds of joints, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Cartilage, which is not bone, but it's like the stuff that makes up your nose, or it's the stuff at the end of your bones near joints, is also part of the skeletal system, and it keeps bones from rubbing against each other. And then there's the vertebral column, which is also known as the backbone, and it encloses and supports and protects your spinal cord. And then ligaments are kind of like an in-between tissue that goes halfway between your skeletal system and your muscular system. And then another one that's not on here, but is also part of your skeletal system. It's the only part you can see. Teeth. Teeth are also part of the skeletal system. How can we take care of our muscular system? Well, we can do weightlifting exercises, which improves the density and the strength of our bones. We can eat foods and drink beverages that have vitamin D in it and also calcium, because that will make our bones and teeth strong. This one we don't usually think about helping our bone system, but our skeletal system, but having correct posture can really help strengthen your skeletal system. Wearing comfortable shoes and having proper arch support will help our skeletal system and our joints. And then be screened for scoliosis. And scoliosis is like what's pictured here. It's the curvature of the spine. Sometimes it's just a bend like that. Sometimes it's an S shape. Being screened for scoliosis will also help your skeletal system. We have two skeletal systems, or subsystems rather. We have one skeleton, but two subsystems. We have the axial skeleton, which you can see is just the center part. It helps protect it consists of the back, the rib cage, and the skull, and it protects your brain, your internal organs, and your spinal cord. And then our other system over here is your arms, legs, hands, feet, and pelvis. That's your appendicular skeletal system. So what does our skeletal system do besides act as a key decoration for Halloween? Well, first, it supports your body. Without your skeletal system, you would just be a blob of mush and couldn't really move around. Second, it helps with movement. We think of muscles for movement, but muscles are attached to bones, and when a muscle pulls, it moves the bones and your body goes along with it. So, skeletal system helps with movement. Third, it helps with protection. It protects your skull, it protects your internal organs and your spinal cord, but also it creates some rigidity to your body, like we talked about with support, and so it can protect your body against blows and hits. Other ones that we don't consider about our skeletal system is that it provides blood cell production. Your blood is produced inside of your bones, inside your marrow. We produce red blood cells and white blood cells. So bones help us with blood production, and of course we know that blood helps carry oxygen supply throughout our body, and so without a good blood cell production in our bones, we would be kind of screwed, wouldn't we? Then there's some storage. Your bones store minerals and they store calcium, and so some of those things are very important. Your bones also can have vitamins in them, and so it's not just your fat cells that store energy and things that help your body, but also your bones do. And then last, it helps regulate some of the endocrine functions. So your bones will regulate how you produce insulin. Again, the bones themselves don't necessarily produce insulin, but they regulate how we produce insulin. Some animals have different skeletal structures depending whether they are male or female, but for humans, the skeletons are mostly the same between males and females. There's only a couple key differences. Number one would be the skull size or proportions. So maybe a male has a more squared off jaw or something like that. You'll see some of those proportions different there. Number two, canine teeth, the pointy teeth on the front top and the bottom, those ones can be different in proportion to the rest of the teeth, depending if it's a male or a female. Number three, the long bone density. So like your femur bone and your upper arm bone, the density can be different depending if it's male or female, and that just has to do with the amount of muscle proportion that the male or female has. And then the fourth one that's different between male or female is the pelvis bone, and that has to deal with female childbearing capabilities. So there are a few differences between male and female skeletons, and sometimes when you're watching some of those crime drama shows like a CSI or something like that, when they go into uh, the lab, they'll look and see, oh, I think I have a female skeleton here, or I have a male skeleton, and they're looking at the bones.